And I looked at Priya one day and I said, why don't you come and be my co-host? And we've been doing it ever since. We never stopped.
So
it just was like,
feeling.
It was natural and it just worked. And we were like, okay, wow, we kind of have something here. And it's grown from there. We rebranded it. She created the logo actually that we use currently. We rebranded it and we kind of morphed it through the time.
Hi, I'm Deirdre Breckenridge. I've spent my entire career helping women to get unstuck, to share their stories, nurture relationships, and to grow their brands. But most of all, to find their voices so they can make a difference. Women Worldwide features the stories of passionate women and the ups and downs of their journeys. With deep insight and advice, let Women Worldwide ignite your passion so you can excel in life.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Women Worldwide. Thank you for showing up every week, for sharing the stories of our guests. And I also want to just let you know, we hear you. And we are bringing the guests and stories to help you with your challenges. So please keep that feedback coming. And every week, we will give you a guest that's going to give you advice and help you move through some of your obstacles in business or even your life. And today, we have two stories. So two guests on the show. That's why I want to get right to the topic and introductions. The topic is the entrepreneur and media. And boy, I'll tell you, those two go together so well. But you know, as an entrepreneur, it's not just a day job. It's a day and it's a night job. And adding media into this is a whole new realm of hectic, but yet excitement. And my guests today just make everything look so easy. And we know the truth that it's not always easy. There's ups and there's downs. So let me get to who's on the show. Joining today are Priya Nembhard and Joan Pelzer. And both of them are entrepreneurs. So Priya is a serial entrepreneur, and she actually has a couple businesses. One is a video production company, and she's the CEO of Mom's Pump Here. And Joan, well, Joan is all about social. She is the CEO and president of Joan Pelzer Social. But the two of them together, and here's why they're together on the show, is they are the hosts of Follow Me Friday with Joan and Priya. Now, this is a show that started as radio. It's gone to a video show, and they're also doing events. So I could just go on and on about Joan and Priya, but I think it's better that they share their stories with you. So ladies, welcome. Welcome to Women Worldwide.
Thank you so much for having us today.
Great to meet everybody.
Oh my gosh, it is such a fun to have both of you on the show. Now, Joan, you are an alum. You've been here before.
Yes,
and
I am.
Priya, this is your first time. So we'll make it easy and show you the ropes. I always love to start with the question that kind of gets everybody out there watching and listening to learn a little bit about your journey. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to toss it to you first, Joan, and then Priya, you're going to jump in. Why did you choose to be an entrepreneur? Why Joan Pelzer Social?
Why?
Right? And then we'll get to the show. So you go first.
So my career spanned a few decades, and about 6 years ago, I was sitting down with a friend of mine who was a business coach, and I was doing social media for other people. And she just looked at me and I said, yeah, you know what? I kind of think maybe this is something I could do as a business. And I had never thought about being an entrepreneur. So you're going to see a total difference between Priya and I. Serial entrepreneur. She knows the ropes. I was a newbie. I was like, I don't know what I'm doing or how I'm going to do it, but it sounds like I should be doing this. And now 6 years later, I am networking up a storm. We're doing our show together, and I'm growing a social media agency, and I'm really excited.
That is amazing. And I know you're networking up a storm because after you were on my show, I was at a networking event.
I know, isn't that funny?
And you were right there. So.
Weirdest thing, because we hadn't ever met in person. We've only talked on the phone, met through your nephew. And all of a sudden I'm at this event and I hear your name and I'm like, no, this can't be. Small world.
It is a small world. How about you, Priya, serial entrepreneur? How'd you get there?
Well, first of all, Joan is the queen of networking. She knows everything.
I like
phrase it as
people.
So I started because, actually I started in 2003 with my first company, the video production company, Blue Box Media, and with my husband. So he is the original entrepreneur, and he sort of like pulled me into the world.
You got sucked in.
At that point, I just wanted to just do good. I wanted to do the Peace Corps and, work for nonprofits and just change the world. But he's like, hey, we can make some money. Let's start a business together. So that's what we did in 2003. And it's been, kismet ever since with the other businesses that I've started. And I'm addicted to it now. I feel like I can never walk away from this type of lifestyle, no matter how many ups and downs there are.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, it's interesting, Deirdre, because she didn't do the Peace Corps, but I did.
Oh, that's really interesting.
I know. I'm like, I got to listen to Priya and Wade about the money-making side of this.
You guys are similar in so many areas. And is that
So
why
funny.
you came together?
Yeah, it's really weird.
Priya, you tell her how we met.
Yeah, Priya, you start with that.
So we met through another networking group. So I lived in Miami for 10 years, and I was part of a networking group down there. And I wanted, when I moved back to New York, to be part of something again. So I had reached out to the founder of that organization. She said, hey, get in contact with this woman, Joan Pelzer. And reached out on Facebook, but Joan, being the busy woman that she is, she's like never responded.
Oh,
And
Joan.
I was like, hey, why?
It was
I
so
love
bad.
the transparency.
Yeah.
So finally, there was an event being hosted for that networking group in New York City, and that's where I finally got to meet her. And it was just like,
Kismet. It was like we were meant to know each other. It was like we knew each other in a past life kind of thing.
Yeah.
I believe it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
and we're like sisters, and we fight like sisters too.
but that's the best kind of relationship.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
You know you can rely on one another, but you kind of know that you might not always have the same opinion, but you can speak your mind. That is really good.
Well, that's what makes a friendship. You have to be friends. It's like we're married. When you have a business partner, it's marriage, right? So,
but thank God I don't have to live with her.
I know, because I went messier than you are.
Now the truth comes out.
I'm a little OCD, and I follow her around and like clean up after her.
Yeah, I'm on the OCD side.
Oh my God, I leave like a napkin on the counter.
No, it's funny because my mom does that to me. When I leave a napkin, even if it's a clean napkin, the napkin is dirty because it's out. She throws it away. I do the same thing to Priya. I'm like, oh my God, what am I doing? I am my mom.
We pick up these habits.
Yeah, she's like, she has to hide things from me.
Oh, wow. Well, I just know that anybody who leaves a glass on my counter, if it's like slightly filled, I'm like, oh, you're done. And
you're done. Yeah. Yeah.
She'll
be like, yeah, totally. She'll be like, I wanted more coffee. I go, well, go get a clean cup.
Oh, it's so
Priya. I have like three kids. So at this point, I'm just like on, the house being perfect.
Yeah,
I mean?
you kind of have
That's
to.
my mindset all the time.
Yeah.
I only have one kid, and he's got 4 legs.
Oh, I have 2 of those right outside this door, and they were barking before. I don't know if you heard them, but
you know what? Mine, I hate to say, mine are trapped over there and sleeping, but if I disturb them, they may bark.
They may bark. Well, we are dog lovers. So let's talk a little bit about Follow Me Friday with the 2 of you. I had mentioned that it was radio, now it's video, events. How are you growing this, and is it easy? Are you finding challenges? Maybe you can chat about that.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's really funny because so I started on the network we were on, Talking Alternative Broadcasting, talkradio.nyc. I started on that network about, I think it was 5 years ago, Priya now. 5 years ago, I think, with a gentleman, and we were doing a completely business show. It was called 21st Century Entrepreneur Radio. And he and I decided he didn't want to do it anymore. And he was a great guy. We had a great time doing the show. And there was a certain dynamic. I was causing him a little like pushing buttons a little bit. And then Priya and I got together, and all of a sudden he didn't want to do the show anymore. His name is JC. And I looked at Priya one day and I said, why don't you come and be my co-host? And we've been doing it ever since. We never stopped.
So
it just was like,
feeling.
It was natural and it just worked. And we were like, okay, wow, we kind of have something here. And it's grown from there. We rebranded it. She created the logo actually that we use currently. We rebranded it and we kind of morphed it through the time. We didn't know what we were going to do. We honestly just were like, let's wing this. It's kind of like me starting my business. Okay, let's kind of wing this and see what you have before you make any decisions to what to do. Yeah. So that's kind of how that kind of got started, and it's morphed ever since. Priya, you want to say anything about it?
Yeah, Priya, how about you?
Yeah, so it's funny because she and I, when we're together, talking about the show and how it's framed, we just talk. We bounce off each other, and it's so natural. And like we said before, it's like when we met, it was just like meant to be. You know what I mean? So everything happening the way it did with the previous hosts with Joan. It was meant to be. You know?
It had run its course. It had run its course. It was good. It was done. It had run its course. And then we did it kind of similar. And then we realized that's not really us.
Not us. Yeah. Because we had wine sponsors. We were having the air. So it's a business and entertainment show, but mainly entertainment because anything can happen. We tend to go off on tangents. We talk about topics, news. But we always, come back center with whatever guests we have on the show that day.
Yeah.
So are you planning together? I mean, is it always you're planning a show together, or is it divide and conquer when it comes to your guests? How does it all come together?
Both.
I think it's both. Yeah, it's both. Because she and I are both, even though I'm less OCD and more laid back, are very good at organizing and making things happen. So it's really about who's going to have control this week.
Yeah. And we have guests planned out through the new year.
Nice.
And we switch them up sometimes because something will come up and we'll be like, we kind of really want to have this person in here now. Like we want to have somebody who's running an organization for women who want to run for public office. We want to have her in around the election time. So we kind of have to move people. And then we've had situations where, we deal with a lot of entrepreneurs where something comes up and they can't make it at the last minute. And we're like, you know what? That's perfectly okay. So we can either do it ourselves. And we thought, oh, well, if we do it ourselves, maybe it should be shorter. It ended up being longer because we just keep talking.
A lot to talk about.
Yeah.
Without interruption, and we're fine.
I think you guys have so much fun.
It's funny because we kind of call ourselves thinkertainers. We used that term a few times. It's a hard word to say thinkertainer, but
entertainers.
We've also called ourselves the Kathy Lee and Hoda of radio, but we're Joan and Priya.
That's really cool. What about, so when it comes to your guests, because I mean, I know that there's lots of listeners and people watching us on YouTube. What makes a really good guest? Is it, I know you mentioned the timeliness of that person, what they do, but what else?
Well, it really doesn't matter what the topic is and what their business is. It's all about their personality. So, we're unpredictable. So if the guests can just like meld really well into that whole conversation and just go with the flow and have fun with us, and they're really lively and they really have a powerful message no matter what the topic may be, that's the perfect guest. And sometimes people
and then
they're going to be okay, but then they end up being like this amazing person on our show.
And then we've had guests who we thought or who were a little more subdued, and it changes the tone of the show. We can go with that, but it changes the tone of the show. But we I think that the gift that we both have together is we can suck in someone's energy and replicate it. So if they're going to go high with us, they can go high with us. If they're going to go lower with us, we can go lower and get more serious. we always try to add a little fun. We always feel like we're not a hardcore news and we're not a hardcore business. We want to have the fun, and we think life is all about that. We talk about that all the time. It has to be you have to have that. We can't take ourselves too seriously.
Yeah,
we're not curing brain cancer here.
Yeah, exactly. You need the levity.
Yeah, we may have a guest on that's curing brain cancer, but we're not curing brain cancer.
Right.
But we can have fun.
Exactly.
Absolutely. I mean, I was on your show, and
you were
really
great.
fun. Oh, thank you.
You were.
It was a lot of fun, and I think you make people feel comfortable. It's the dynamic that you have with each other and the way that you include your guest into the conversation. It was very free flowing. So, and I sometimes appreciate that.
Well, there's sometimes we don't include them. Sometimes we forget we have a guest and we just want to talk.
That's so funny.
And that's okay.
That's the entertainment.
It's like that where our producer looks over at us and he's like, hey.
Hey, you might want to ask your guest a question.
Wait, is your producer in the room with you? So you guys now are on video, and it's kind of the producer's there. It's live.
So we've morphed. So we were strictly no video, just audio in the studio with Sam, and it was awesome. And we loved it. And the guests would come in, and we started growing, and we had a lot more people at a time. We'd have a gaggle of interns. We'd have a marketing assistant. We then thought, oh, maybe we could do some video. Mm-hmm. And we started setting up video. We brought a computer and left it there. It's still there. Yeah. So like we started morphing it. And then all of a sudden this summer we got really tired, and we said, you know what, let's take a little break and let's look at this and see what we want it to be. So Priya, tell her what we did this summer.
We did a video series called Summer in the City with Joan and Priya. So we went to different locations. We went to the Met. We visited our favorite fan, or one of our favorite.
The Met was freaking awesome.
And we even did it in Joan's apartment in her kitchen, which is a beautiful.
You went everywhere.
Everywhere.
Yes.
And the hot spots.
The New York City hot spots. That was the goal.
Yeah.
So
and
cool.
While we were doing these, on location, we were interviewing people, we were talking, we were interacting. The Met was more of like a fun, like, hey, look at that,
Yeah.
But with Gary Cohan, the jeweler, one of our favorite guests, we really honed in on who he was.
Yeah.
And we had a great time there. We ate Chinese food. It was just
That sounds great. Ladies, I'm going to ask you to hold your thoughts.
Okay.
Just for a minute. We're going to switch our focus over to the sponsor of today's episode, who is Fabian Gerhalter, and his new online course, Resonate. Now, this online course is, it's a branding strategy course, and Fabian has actually been on Women Worldwide twice. He is a marketing expert, branding strategy expert. He's also an author, a speaker. I've read 2 of his books. They're excellent. But before I dive into details on his course, I kind of want to ask you your thoughts about branding. So, Joan, I'm going to ask you first.
Yeah, absolutely.
Why do you think branding helps to launch a flourishing business?
Okay, that's a really good question, because in my own business doing social media for people, I've had people come to me as a starting business without any branding. And what it does is it doesn't allow you to know who you are and who you're going to speak to and how you're going to speak to them. So to me, branding is so important. And it doesn't just mean the logo. It means the look and the feel, the texture, the words, the keywords, everything that goes along with who and what you are, what you're selling, because everyone's selling something, whether it's you personally or your product, and who you're talking to. Who is your audience? Who do you want to reach? I can't really help someone unless they know that, because then I know how and where to put them online.
Excellent. Well said. How about you, Priya? What do you think?
Well, I agree 100% with what Joan said.
Yeah.
Branding is storytelling. So you're telling the story of the business. of the owner of the product that you're selling. And it's more than the images, it's the words you use, it's the people who are presenting the products. So with me, just like Joni does social media, I do video. So you're putting your face out there for the world to see. You're putting the brand out there for the world to see. You are your brand. If you're going to put yourself in a video, you are your brand. And you have to really embrace that. I feel like a lot of entrepreneurs don't embrace that enough.
Yeah.
So it's important branding that you include yourself. Now in this day and age with social media, people want to see who's behind the brand. And it's important.
Absolutely. You have to live your brand.
You do. Actually, one more point, Deirdre, and this totally relates to what we're talking about. Priya and I didn't know what our show was going to be until we rebranded ourselves. And it took about 6 months of doing the show for us to kind of go, okay, this is who and what we want to be. That's when we named it. It took us 6 months to name the show when we were doing it together. And it became Follow Me Friday. And we tossed around all sorts of names. And then Priya created the logo, and it kind of gave us who and what we were and what we wanted to do. And it's morphed since then.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's great. I'm so glad you shared that, because it is a process. And Fabian's online brand strategy course, eResonate, is all about getting to that well-defined brand. And basically it's so internal audiences and external audiences, they have clarity over what your business is and what you stand for, because that's so important. Because you know, we all know that branding strategy done right gives you that strong foundation, and it has a ripple effect, because it's your internal culture to your marketing, to your sales. You're really creating that focused, authentic story, right? You said storytelling, Priya. It's that story that people can believe in.
Yes.
And we all know what happens when people believe in your story, right? They show up, they want to engage, they want to be a part of whatever compelling offer you have, they want to create impact, they want to be with you.
Yeah, they do.
Right?
Yeah.
People show up front.
Exactly. I say to you and to all of you listening and watching this show, if you're interested in a well-defined brand, a strong brand foundation, and really a flourishing business, then you should go and check out Fabian's course. It's, I'll say the link, but don't worry, it's going to be in the show notes as well as the YouTube description. It's tinyurl.com/resonate. And resonate is spelled RESONAID. So I hope all of you check out Fabian Gerhalter's online brand strategy course, eResonate. And thank you, ladies, so much for sharing your thoughts on branding. And thank you, Fabian, for sponsoring this episode of Women Worldwide. Okay, let's dive back into our conversation. So you had both shared about how Follow Me Friday kind of was morphing and growing. Along the way, here's where we get real, because I said at the beginning of the show that no matter how easy you guys make it look, there are challenges. So what are some of the challenges of adding this wonderful media and business really to what you already do? How are you managing everything?
Oh, it's just peachy.
As we go with the flow, we just go with it, you know, with the ups and downs, we just go with it. I mean, so branding obviously was one of the obstacles in the beginning, like Joan said. Sometimes the guests cancel, we just have to roll with it and use our own personalities and the hot topics. And if something's happening with one of us, we just have to make sure communication is open, and, you know, we have a plan. We have some sort of plan in place to do it. But in terms of media and the way it's placed in our lives, I think it's opened up so much more for us.
Oh, yeah.
So it's made our own businesses even more visible, because we're able to talk about our projects and our clients and all the exciting things happening and all the bad things happening. And really, we're sharing ourselves through the media. We're sharing our journey and our entrepreneurial journey and what's going on with our businesses. And I think it's really what our show is. You know, our show is us sharing ourselves with the world.
I want to key into that. Joan, before you comment,
Absolutely.
sharing yourself with the world. And maybe, Joan, you can answer this question. There's a lot of entrepreneurs out there who are hesitant to share with the, I mean, they are building their businesses, but it's not easy to be on media or be social, right? So maybe you can comment on that.
It's interesting that you said that, because I was with a client yesterday in their home in Brooklyn, and they had never done live video. And I put them on Instagram Live and Facebook Live, and they were actually better than they expected to be. They really were nervous when we were rehearsing, but the minute I put them on live, it changed everything. And what we're seeing, and what Priya and I just totally believe in, is the authenticity. For a while, when we were doing this show, we were ups and downs, not knowing what we were doing, which direction. Do we want to be more business? Do we want to be more entertainment? And we got a ton of feedback that really made us judge ourselves, and really made us stop and go, okay, what is it about this feedback that's positive, and what's something that we can use moving forward? So we took it constructively and morphed into what we are now. And I think Priya said it perfectly. It makes us both better business people. It introduces us to a wider net that we would have had before. And I networked all the time in New York. I was the queen of networking, had to pull it back. Still am, but pulled it back, because you've got to remember that when you're doing, just like with the show, there's got to be before, during, and after. And if you don't do the after, you don't have a business.
Right.
So for us, if we don't do the after, if we don't thank our guests, if we don't send them the link, if we don't talk about the fact that they were on when they were on, we lose an opportunity. And so that's been a big challenge for us as we go along. I mean, we morphed it from completely business show to business and entertainment to being who we are and being comfortable with that. We can curse on the air if we choose to. Well, until we get onto network television, but we curse on the air if we choose to. But if we're in that at the moment, sometimes we are, sometimes we're not. But it's got to be, you've got to be comfortable in your skin and authentic. And I think most businesses are the same way. And people talk about this, it's like a thing now, but it's always been a thing. You've got to be who you are in order to be who other people want to be around.
And that's being comfortable in your skin. There's no doubt.
Yeah.
Yeah. You want to say something?
No, I completely agree with her. It's been a journey getting that comfort.
Yeah.
It takes time.
Opinions. And so I think what she was talking about with the client is that we get so in our head, thinking that the whole world is going to judge us. And it really is a process where you, even if you're not on video or on radio, just being comfortable with yourself, with speaking, delivering, your message about your business, delivering the message now about, our topics and things like that. We've become comfortable with it because it's been a journey and a process to get to there.
Yeah.
Right. And
I'll give you one example.
Listening also, just on the note, you mentioned that you're listening, you're taking the feedback. I think that's what really helps you to flourish, because when the people you're serving take the time to say, hey, I think it should be this way, or I like, or I don't like.
Oh God. Yeah.
But that's also a double-edged sword. So you also have to be very wary about other people's opinions, because everybody's opinion is a perspective coming from themselves. It's not truly who you are as a person. So we have to take it constructively, but we also have to remember, that we are not those people that they're projecting. We're who they want us to be, so we just have to be wary of it.
Yeah.
Good point.
We did a brainstorming with all of our interns this summer, a couple of different times, for them to help us figure out the plan for the summer and to get them excited about what we were doing. And then it made us get excited about what we were doing. And we just had to take it as it came. Like, we've done shows where all of a sudden my dog starts barking. It's a live show. What are you going to do? You bring him in. So we brought him in. We had an intern come in with him. I mean, it's just great. We go with it because we want people to see, it's real, and we make mistakes. Yeah. Like yesterday when I was doing the live video with my clients, all of a sudden the very end, right when I was going to stop them, they had a phone ring. in the background, and they were like, and I said, oh, your phone is ringing. That's a good thing. Maybe you've got business.
Maybe it's business.
So go with it, but don't hide who and what you are. Don't hide those little things, because that's when it looks like you're really uncomfortable. If all of a sudden like a phone rings and I'm like, uh-oh, what am I going to do? Oh my God, the phone is ringing. I got to stop this. That doesn't work.
No, that's so true. I mean, I'm used to now my dogs barking in the background, or the doorbell ringing, phones. Yeah, you're right.
It makes you real.
That's
exactly
so true.
Yeah.
So you're not going to believe this, but we're nearing the end.
What?
Oh, bummer.
No. Yeah, I could talk to you ladies for much longer, but I would like to have you, and we'll start with you, Priya. Just share a little bit of advice, parting advice with everybody out there, all the Women Worldwide watchers and listeners, on, you know, being a professional and adding media to your world.
Wow. Okay. Well, that's this. I think the biggest thing, and I'm speaking from a personal perspective, is that you have to be persistent. I am not a quitter, but stuff happens. You know what I mean? You have to learn how to roll with things and just be persistent, and know that there are going to be lots of highs and lots of lows, and just make sure you have that support system to continue that persistence.
Oh, that's great. How about you, Joan?
I totally agree with that. Also, what I've learned is you have to do the work on your business as well as in your business. So you've got to do both. You've got to be the one seeing what's going on. You're doing the sales. Even if you have a whole team behind you, you've got to know what's going on, and you've got to monitor it as you go along, so you know the direction you're going. It's like a GPS. And then you can recalculate as you go along. I've recalculated a number of times as I've gone along. It's been 6 years now. I can't even believe it's been 6 years. And you do, like Priya said, the ups and downs don't become so high and so low after a while, once you learn to kind of manage the process. And, you know, it can be dependent on the world in general, or it can be dependent on you yourself and what's going on, but really being authentic. And I've had to eat dirt a few times and apologize to clients for not getting something done for them. And it's okay as long as I'm communicating.
You're human.
And communicating is so key.
Yeah, from the highs and the lows, Priya, to eating dirt. Joan, guys,
sometimes you got to eat dirt.
Really good advice. Thank you so much. Okay, so last question to both of you, and Joan, you can take this first. Where can people find out more about you, your work, and the show?
Yep. So we have a website, which Priya put together, so I'll let her tell you about it. But you can email both of us. You can find us all over social media. Follow me Friday with Joan and Priya, and I will let Priya, and I'm Joan Pelzer Social, and I'll let Priya tell you where to find us on our website, because she created it, and it's gorgeous.
Awesome.
Well, it's still a work in progress, talking about that.
It's always a work in progress.
Yeah, always a work in progress. So it's followmefriday.com or joanandpriya.com. So we're branding both at the same time. And of course, social media, online, YouTube. We're growing our YouTube. Subscribe, follow, like us.
Absolutely.
Personal businesses. I'm blueboxmediallc.com, momsfromhere.com, and my foundation that Joan is now a part of.
I'm a board member.
It's the edgehelps.com.
Excellent. Ladies, thank you so much. And
thanks for having us.
Oh, it's such a pleasure. Thanks for the advice, all of your insights, and just for sharing and being real. I know that people really appreciate that. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And I want to thank all of you for tuning into Women Worldwide, wherever you are. Just keep sharing and sending us your feedback. We really appreciate hearing from you. Whether you want to hit us up on Twitter, you can tweet, you can DM us, post on Facebook, go to the YouTube channel, Deirdre Breckenridge, and subscribe. And you can put comments there. You can go to the Women Worldwide Show website. So it's womenworldwideshow.com. Sign up for our updates. And we just love hearing from you. So thanks, everyone, for joining us. And until our next episode, you know what I always say, stay focused, energized, and feeling empowered. Thank you.